The carnival wound down at Flemington. Across the Tasman Sea, things were just beginning to warm up. At Riccarton on November 5, New Zealand's best fillies journey south for the Group 1 1,000 guineas.
They race inside the 600 now, heading for home in the guineas, and the leader, Au Revoir, 3 lengths in front of Moonshine, is followed by Star Scent coming at them. In behind it, Vida Darren, down the outside, Stardet's putting it a run as well. Further back then to Queen Ripon and Luskin Lass and Tartan Tights, but with 300 metres to go, Star Scent has gone for the lead, and Star Scent on the outside, and Moonshine's trying to fight back, and Vida Darren still coming strongly the rail. Stardet is wide around, and Tartan Tights is coming with a big finish down the outer. And it's Star Scent. Tartan Tights is bobbing them. Star Scent, but Tartan Tights. South Island has won the guineas.
Tartan Tights is the 9th individual stakes winner to the credit of Tights, a blue-blooded Nijinsky stallion who died at Hanui Farm during the course of the 1994 season. The filly could be said to have avenged her dam, the outstanding South Island race mare Ultrasound, who won 15 races but could only finish 3rd in the 1,000 guineas of 1987. 4 days later, it's the boys' turn, and the Colts and the Geldings do battle over the Riccarton 1,600 metre circuit in the Group 1 2,000 guineas.
Avedon is making progress in the middle, appears to be travelling pretty well, and then 2 rupees about 4 lengths further back to Avedon, and Bonsai, not to Avedon, to the other horse, Vidadara, and Bonsai Pipeline. They head for home now, 500 metres to go, and Asahi lines them up. Asahi from St Rautai, 2 lengths away. Here's Moonshine chiming in on the outside. Wider out on the track, Avedon's coming at them now. Bay of Biscay and 2 rupees and Vidadara. It's Asahi at the distance post, going to it, St Rautai, but Avedon's joining them now, and look at him gallop. Avedon, the big grey, he's gone to the lead. He's making it look very simple. Avedon going down to the line to say he's kicking back with St Rautai, and Vidadara coming late, but they went to the post and Avedon won it.
Avedon didn't leave his rivals with too many excuses at Riccarton, and it was expected to be a similar story 13 days later in the Leven Racing Club's Bayer Classic at Otaki Racecourse.
Avedon's got a little bit to do as they swing the corner in the Bayer, in the 94 Bayer, and here it is Asahi. Asahi a couple on now, Allegro comes after it, deeper out Esquire Grey. Avedon's got to be pulled right to the outside to make his run. We've got Allegro, here comes Avedon after him, Star Scent in the centre, Allegro is the leader, Avedon and Star Scent are trying to get him, Avedon, Star Scent and Allegro, but big bold Avedon. Avedon's got it, Avedon, Star Scent and Allegro.
Unfortunately, this Group 1 double for Avedon also proved to be an epitaph for a stallion, in this case Famous Star, who died later in the season. Famous Star had become a leading New Zealand sire in recent years, a far cry from his humble beginnings at the cheaper end of the stallion roster at prestigious Raroa Stud. Avedon is owned by hoteliers Ron and Hazel Spotswood and was prepared for his big wins by Patrick Campbell. For the final months of the year, the older stayers in New Zealand are steered towards just one race, the DB Auckland Cup at Ellerslie on New Year's Day. About 5 weeks earlier, many of the major protagonists find their way to the other major Auckland racetrack, Avondale, for the Group 1 Avondale Cup.
500 metres out in the Radio Pacific Avondale Cup, and the leader is Ballpark as they head for home from Just Apollo and Captain Court. In behind them to Danny Golden, they're followed by Western Red, the big chestnut coming after them. In behind them, Domingo Seeing Daylight, followed by Nearly Pals. Inside the 250, Ballpark still in front in the cup from Just Apollo. There followed Captain Court, then we've got Darkside on the inside, Danny Gold, Ballpark in front, Just Apollo, Darkside's flashing home, Sir Kingy running on late, but Ballpark has got the cup. Ballpark first, Photo second, Just Apollo and Darkside.
Ballpark has been one of New Zealand's most consistent older gallopers, with his wins including the 1994 Easter Handicap. He's the best Australasian product of the deceased Coolmore stallion Ahunura. Ballpark was ridden by Melbourne Cup winning jockey Tony Allen and is trained at Matamata by Michael Moroney. Across in Perth, the annual Western Australian Racing Carnival gets underway with the Beat Diabetes Stakes. This 1,800 metre weight for age race has gone by a number of sponsors' names in recent years, but its list of past winners is a testament to its quality. Great gallopers like Family of Man, Sovereign Red, Kingston Town and the Mighty Vo Rogue.
Island Morn by a length from Regimental Tattoo. Danny Miller drawing the whip on the 3-year-old. Running third, Mouser around the outside, making ground is Scarlet Storm Boy, followed by Prior Engagement. Then Calypso as they swing the bend, and Pride of Rancher looking to get clear from Twist and Shout. 300 to go, Island Morn kick 2 clear. Scarlet Storm Boy, Mouser, followed by Calypso, Prior Engagement, and then Pride of Rancher, but it's Island Morn, 3 lengths in front, 100 to go from Calypso and Scarlet Storm Boy. Pride of Rancho coming late, but it's all Island Morn all the way. Island Morn by 2.
That's not the last we see of this quality Western Australian front runner. On the classic scene, a 3-year-old filly named Boart had been racking up an impressive sequence of wins, including the Tattersalls Cup and Western Australian Oaks. Her Oaks victory was so dominating that she earned her place in the Western Australian Derby at Ascot on December 26th.
Boart taken wide to get clear as they come up to the 500, being followed then by Tudor Red, North Island Filthy, Luca Heed the Toll, Regimental Tattoo and Steve Siege, but 4:50 to go, and Twist and Shout joined on the bend by Steel Trap going up wide from Mystery to Me, then King of Saxony. Boart looms up 5 and 6 wide, in behind them Vulnerable as they corner from Cloudy Bay and Bronte Story. Boart at the 200 and King of Saxony settle down to fight it out 5 lengths to Bronte Story. It's Boart and King of Saxony. Boart a half head in front. King of Saxony lifting. King of Saxony, Boart. Stride for stride. Boart a nose from King of Saxony.
A marvellous staying performance by this talented filly. At that stage of her career, Boart had won 7 of her 14 starts, including 5 and 8 as a 3-year-old. The filly is bred and raced by Multiplex Constructions, the company of former WATC chairman John Roberts.
4,000 kilometres away at Ellerslie, New Zealand's biggest week of racing gets underway with the Derby meeting on Boxing Day, December 26. As we've already seen, Avedon was dominant in the 2,000 guineas and the Bayer Classic. But there was a legitimate query over this colt's capacity to get the classic distance of 2,400 metres, bearing in mind his sprinting pedigree. Keep an eye on the grey, Look Who's Talking, in the pink and green colours, who's restrained back to near last in the early stages.
They're across the top in the Derby. They're followed by Del Coronado, Rainbow Brave, Cataldo. Then Look Who's Talking. Magic View came next to St. Rautide, 2 then to Rendezvous, and 5 lengths away to Count Chivas, who's at the tail of the field, running towards the bend. 500 out in the New Zealand Herald Derby, and the leader is Icing Glass from View. On the inside, the Blue View moved off the fence, then Maxim. In behind them, Avedon making ground from Fewer Chosen. Cataldo swept around the outside. View hit the front of the Derby at the 300 from Maxim. There followed Avedon coming after them with Allegro. Then we've got Look Who's Talking, Fewer Chosen and Cataldo. Rendezvous down the outside. Avedon, Look Who's Talking, Fewer Chosen, Cataldo. On the inside, Avedon just veered out. Look Who's Talking on the outside levelled. Look Who's Talking, Avedon fighting back. Look Who's Talking and Brown Cooksley. Look Who's Talking has won the Derby from Avedon. Third photos, we've got Cataldo or Rainbow Brave.
The Derby victory was a real international affair. Look Who's Talking was selected as a yearling by agent Anton Kuhlman, now based in Sydney, for a group of Hong Kong businessmen who race as the Unifaith Syndicate. The result was a career highlight for trainer Nigel Tiley, who only retired from race riding 18 months previously after a successful career in New Zealand, Australia, Singapore and Hong Kong. The Derby picture was completed with yet another perfect Grant Cooksley Group 1 ride. The Melbourne Cup may be the race that stops a nation in Australia. In New Zealand, its counterpart is the Auckland Cup, run over 3,200 metres at Ellerslie on New Year's Day.
Looking to improve Royal Tiara up and around Cool Reception and Eurostar. They're fair sprinting now. 2 lengths to Legiro, followed by Cairo, Popsy, and then Dark Side, and the Hunt had dropped away. Round towards the point of the turn, 450 to go. Don't Conacon claimed on the outside by Just Apollo, who went to the front of the Cup. Here's Charging Glass out after it, followed by Captain Court, Brilliant Venture. All in Fun and Royal Tiara's winding up. Here's the 2 favourites, Legiro, and down the extreme outside is Popsy. All in Fun's in front of the DB Draft Auckland Cup of 95. Royal Tiara and Popsy kicking on, followed by Legiro. All in Fun in front. Here's Royal Tiara, slowly but surely wearing it down, and Popsy's flashing home. Royal Tiara, Popsy, All in Fun. Royal Tiara's got the DB Draft Auckland Cup of 95. Popsy second, All in Fun third.
A fairy tale result for 18-year-old apprentice Sarah Campbell, prevailing in a tight finish over New Zealand's champion rider Lance O'Sullivan. There's an interesting international aspect to Royal Tiara's pedigree, which makes her truly unique in this part of the world. Her dam, Maganyos, was bred in Hungary, and her 10 wins ranged from 1,200 metres to 3,000 metres, including the Derby in Switzerland, stakes races in France and Germany, and hurdle races in England and France. If the Auckland Cup is the ultimate race for a New Zealand stayer, then the pinnacle for a sprinter is the Group 1 Railway Handicap, run over 1,200 metres on the same program.
Railway Handicap Field racing, and away they go from the 1200, and Red Send pounds quickly on the inside to lead out Coburger, and Ensign knew it. Solution made a good beginning, as did Status. Wider out now, and they're followed out then by Paula. In behind them came Lord Phoenix down on the inside, then to Ali Fiesta. On the outside of it is Furbolg. 2 lengths on Lord Trident. They're followed down on the inside then by Maybe So. Ferragamo's making ground up and around that pair, and facing the music. Drop to the rear, 15 off the pace. Red Send, the light-weighted runner, took the pace a length and a quarter. Coburger right on the steel. Ensign knew it from Solution, travelling nicely on the outer. A length and a half to Status, followed by Lord Phoenix on the outside. Furbolg and then Paula. There's Ferragamo whipping up and around runners, followed by Lord Trident as they run to the bend. Ali Fiesta, Maybe So, and facing the music. Homeward bound in the DB Draft Super Quad Railway Handicap, and doing pace where Coburger moved up alongside to take the lead off Red Send. They're followed by Solution, been asked a question by Di, not going at all, in fact been pulled up in the race. Somebody's gone to miss the favourite. Coburger's kick cleared out from Red Send, and Ensign knew it. Lord Trident facing home, Furbolg and Status. It's all over. The DB Draft Super Quad Railway Handicap to Coburger. Ensign knew it flashed up to second, Lord Trident third, followed by Red Send.
No doubt about the result here, with Coburger going right on with his excellent summer form to beat the proven sprinters Lord Trident and Ensign Hewitt. Coburger is the 11th stakes winner and 5th individual Group 1 winner, sired by Famous Star. The 4-year-old was winning for the 6th time from only 11 starts for the Matter father and son team of Jim and Chris Gibbs. 2 days after the Auckland Cup and Railway Handicap, Ellerslie hosted the Auckland Classic, one of the country's most important weight-for-age races.
At the 600 in the Auckland Classic, and Solvit's travelling extra 3/4 to Western Red. On the inside to Ballpark, Lord Majestic. Then we've got Star Dancer. Skyfly's going to make its run wide, and Prince Zephyr into the straight, 450 to go, and it's Solvit. Lined up this Auckland Classic field by a length. On the outside, Western Red. Here's sprinting now and exploding towards the leaders. Star Dancer. They're followed by Ballpark looking for racing room, but Star Dancer's kicked out, and it's away by 2 or 3 lengths over Solvit. Ballpark is getting clear late, but it's all over. At the 100, the Group 1 Auckland Classic going to Star Dancer with Grant Cooksby aboard. Just a flick of the stick over the shoulder, and Star Dancer 4 lengths at the line from Ballpark second, Lord Majestic third, then Solvit weakened to fourth.
The Auckland Classic continued an outstanding summer carnival for Grant Cooksby, who is based full-time in Sydney but likes nothing better than riding a Group 1 winner on his home soil. Star Dancer is prepared by Bruce Wallace, one of New Zealand's most outstanding young training talents. The New Zealand Racing Carnival moves south to Trentham in the second half of January for the Wellington Racing Club's time-honoured Wellington Cup Carnival. The Group 1 sprinters who featured in Ellerslie's Railway Stakes traditionally seek a rematch in the Group 1 Telegraph Handicap.
Status a little bit deep around runners. Then we have the next Present Arms for Crispin clear back the outside of it, Lord Trident and Snap. She's the last as they travel up towards the 650, and Gypsy is the leader. Gypsy leads now from Atlantic Brave, who's away from the fence to challenge her on the outside. Deeper out, Panagold, Rough Harbour very wide to the turn, Furbolg, Rampage back and behind them, then Saxon Vale, Al Akbar. Into the straight though in the Telegraph, and here Atlantic Brave goes up to Gypsy, who fightens again. And then we have Panagold, Rampage in behind them. Al Akbar angled out for a run. Saxon Vale and Snapper held up back in behind them. It's Atlantic Brave. Rampage trying to get out. And then we've got Panagold. Saxon Vale can't get a crack. Outright, Lord Trident flying. Rampage in front. Lord Trident the top weight, and Saxon Vale the top. He's got it. Lord Trident, Tony Allen, victory salute at the line. Rampage, Saxon Vale.
The term champion is dreadfully overworked in racing and has been given to many horses of less ability and consistency than Lord Trident. This son of Ardsley Stud's versatile sire, Lord Belliner, was New Zealand's champion 2-year-old of season 89-90 and has been a Group 1 competitor in every season since. The Telegraph was Lord Trident's 3rd Group 1 win and his 12th overall, with prize money now exceeding $400,000 New Zealand dollars. The New Zealand Oaks is one of the most important races on the calendar for the country's important thoroughbred industry. As we saw earlier in the 1,000 guineas at Riccarton, the best 3-year-old filly of the season so far, unquestionably, was Tartan Tights.
Back and behind them then is Luskin Lass. They're followed by Tartan Tights. Rampage Queen, a packing field of the Oaks, and Skagway was the last. Something wrong with Annie Haynes, broken gear. Into the straight in the Oaks, and Marnie's Magic from Mandate after it, strongly over on the outside. Wider out then Glowing Heights getting into the clear, and Sneetches coming home strongly. Glowing Heights ranged up and hit the front. Glowing Heights now. Rampage Queen coming after it. Tartan Tights looking to get into the clear, and Sneetch over on the inside. We've got Glowing Heights. Here's the Southern Star. Tartan Tights getting home strongly. Tartan Tights out wide, and the Oaks goes to the South Island. Tartan Tights has beaten Glowing Heights, Rampage Queen.
Tartan Tights once again scored with authority, making her an automatic choice for Filly of the Year. For the second successive year, the 1,000 Guineas winner had completed the classic double, with the O'Sullivan-trained Snap having carried it off in 1994. At 250,000 New Zealand dollars, the Wellington Cup shares top billing with the Auckland Cup as New Zealand's richest Group 1 race. In 1995, much of the promotion of the Wellington Cup had centred around the engagement of Melbourne's champion jockey Damien Oliver for the South Island 4-year-old Ed, a solid stayer named after New Zealand's legendary mountaineer Sir Edmund Hillary.
Lord Majestic and Cool Reception start to make their runs. Back and behind them, All in Fun looking to get away from the fence. Ed's now rolling around the field. Mr. Cash and Moray. Torbo goes forward. Friendly Henry's going back. Then Kathy Dream. Further away is GG Royale. Royal Tiara's got a bit of work to do, as to Noble Task and Prince Waikato coming up to the corner. And here Lord Majestic went around and hit the front. Ed's after him over on the outside. Levels up now. Ed and Lord Majestic. All in Fun into the clear. And yes, indeed, down the outside, it's Ed the leader. Ed's a length and a half on. Yes, indeed, coming out after it now. All in Fun between them's fighting on well. Ed in front, he's a length clear. Yes, indeed's trying to reach him, but the pride of the South Island and Damien Oliver wins the Wellington Cup, and Ed's gone on to win from second over. Yes, indeed.
The script went perfectly for the connections of Ed, and of course was a promotional dream come true for the Wellington Racing Club. Ed is the second Group 1 2-miler sired by the Japan Cup winner Half Iced, the other being last year's Brisbane Cup hero Skyfly. The big metric miles like the Doncaster and the Epsom are an important part of Australian racing, and it's no different in New Zealand. The first of the Kiwis 1600s is the Thornden Mile at Trentham on January 28.
Still Al Akbar is the leader. From second is the favourite Frenetic. Endless Joy over on the inside. Brero to Gold Cup goes forward. Silver Chalice back over on the inside. 1.5 last Scala at the 600. They are followed by Comanche Boy, Wilbury Star, Placido, Pakaraka Star. Didn't pick that up earlier. It's now last barring Zora, who's well out of it into the straight. And Al Akbar is the leader. Frenetic, the favourite, goes after him strongly. Endless Joy in behind them. Silver Chalice is now starting to run on with Gold Cup. Al Akbar is the leader. Silver Chalice comes home strongly, and then we've got Frenetic between them. Silver Chalice went up to Al Akbar. Look at Endless Joy get home over on the inside. Silver Chalice is the leader. Endless Joy comes home strongly over on the inside. Little between them, and at the line, head up, head down, I don't know. Very close between Endless Joy and Silver Chalice.
This was the 5th win in 21 starts for Silver Chalice, but the mare was unable to run up to that form during an autumn campaign in Melbourne. A special mention here for the effort of 18-year-olds. While New Zealand's summer of group racing was in full swing, the 2-year-olds on both sides of the Tasman were limbering up for the rich autumn contests in Melbourne and Sydney. At Trentham, the $250,000 Magic Millions Classic gave us a look at a young sprinter that carried the reputation of being New Zealand's best 2-year-old ever.
Racing in the Magic Millions. Slow out then was Michelob, has got back a bit at the jump, and another to get back as well. D Talento and Mercury Vapor's going to settle back. Beginning quickly as usual now is going to be our Maze K. He's away quickly. Up over on the outside though, going up is going to be Santara. Right with those runners, Paquin. As to Eternal Luck go Roger deeper. Parker Raban, Seattle Gem behind the Magic McGinty go Jack. One around those runners a little bit deeper out is followed back then by Kentucky. Big Twister Aerosmith. Wide out Katrina Bell. Mercury Vapor back on the inside of Michelob. Simply Superb's a fair way back coming up towards the corner as to D Talento. They swing the corner now and he's in front. Our Maze K. Our Maze K straightens up about 3 to 4 lengths clear now from Magic McGinty. Kentucky back behind them. Paquin runs on. Santara out into the centres, getting home well then. Mercury Vapor. Philip Mercer working on Our Maze K, but he's 6 lengths in front of Kentucky. Further away back behind them then we've got Mercury Vapor, but Our Maze K, one of the best 2-year-olds we've ever seen in the land, draws right away, and Our Maze K's taken the Ford New Zealand Magic Millions. Mercury Vapor, Kentucky.
And Durbridge has dropped out to last. 800 metres left to go. Brawny Spirit takes the lead by a neck on Eleanor. A length and a half Scalacci on the inside of Sequalo. 2 lengths to Hurricane Sky. A length then to Fighter Bay, and tailed off is Durbridge. They're burning down the side past the 600. Eleanor on the inside. Brawny Spirit by 2 lengths. Sequalo a length away then Scalacci as they're making the home turn. 3 lengths further back. Hurricane Sky being followed by Fighter Bay. Brawny Spirit hanging off the tracker. Eleanor is the leader. Here comes Sequalo down the outside, and Scalacci just behind them as they straighten over. Eleanor's in front, coming to the 250, led over a length. Sequalo down the outside, trying to get to Eleanor, who's rider now drew the Weber. Sequalo coming at Eleanor in the final stages. Eleanor is still in front. He's holding in second place, Sequalo, and Scalacci, the great Bray. Look at Scalacci. Scalacci's going to win it. Scalacci grabbed the lead. Scalacci by a half a length in the Rubiton to Eleanor. Third, Sequalo. They're followed by Fighter Bay, Hurricane Sky, Brawny Spirit, who ran off the track at the home turn, and Durbridge last to finish.
The day belonged to a mighty popular grey gelding.
At the 200, Eleanor neck in front. Sequalo slowly but surely starting to come after him. And Scalacci poking back in the middle. Eleanor just in front of Scalacci, making a late lunge. Eleanor in front. Scalacci's going to get up. He's grabbed them, the grey. Yes, Scalacci.
That's 15 wins from 28 starts for Scalacci. Ridden by Pat Payne, the speed machine started at 9 to 2. Second, Alanon at 7s, and Sequalo was the red-hot favourite at 11.
Yes, this is the big one, the clash of Hariba, the short-priced favourite against the old champ Scalacci. Here are the approximate tote dividends. Scalacci showing at $6, might even get out a fraction to about $6.50. Runner-up in the Melbourne Cup might find it a little short at $12. Hariba between about $1.80 and $1.70 now on the Victorian TAB. Sequalo paying $7. They're just about all in now. Time for us to go to Flemington to our caller, John Russell.
Scalacci's gone up. He's first into stride from Elcove, and Durbridge got out well. Dropping in behind them, Paris Lane towards the outside. Sequalo hitting straight for the outside rail in company with Belzever. Scalacci showing plenty of tower, and so also is Blue Boss in behind them, followed by Never Under Charge. Now 2 divisions as they race down with 850 metres left to go, and down the flat side. Hariba is well clear down there by about 3 lengths to Durbridge. Close up behind them, Primacy, a length and a half. Paris Lane followed by Elcove, and over on the grandstand side, Sequalo is the leader out there from Scalacci, and just in behind them, Belzever, Spanish Mix coming into the picture. Blue Boss is in behind them, followed by Never Under Charge. They come down to the course proper. 500 metres left to go, and Hariba travelling sweetly down on the inside, led 4 lengths to Primacy, 4 lengths away Durbridge. Down the grandstand side, Sequalo is leading with Scalacci tackling him, and Spanish Mix is in behind them as they come to the 250. Hariba over on the inside is clear down there. Down the grandstand side, it's Sequalo and Scalacci, but Hariba's all on his own. He's going to bolt in, Hariba. He's a champion. Hariba will bolt in. He wins by 6 lengths. Spanish Mix is second, Scalacci third. Fourth home, Sequalo, followed by Primacy. Belzever, Blue Boss back behind them, Durbridge, Paris Lane second last, and Elcove's run last.
Hariba was sent out an 11 to 8 on favourite, while the veteran Scalacci was also well backed. But racing's latest speed machine was never challenged.
Out 3 lengths to Primacy, a gap then to Durbridge, Paris Lane. Down the grandstand rail, and Scalacci under a good hold, goes up to Sequalo. 2 to Spanish Mix, and they're clear now of Blue Boss and Belzever. Hariba over on the flat side, and down the outside, Sequalo and Scalacci, and running on Spanish Mix. Hariba over on the fence in front. Yes, it's Hariba over on the inside. He explodes, Hariba. 5, 6 in front. Spanish Mix, Sequalo and Scalacci, but Hariba a world beater. Hariba wins the race by 5 lengths.
An awesome performance by Hariba, who was
by the Moonee Valley Racing Club, but was held at Flemington while the Moonee Valley track was under reconstruction.
as they came to the crossing here. I reckon Hariba with a narrow lead. Out on the grandstand, Scalacci and Sequalo in front of Spanish Mix, Belzevere, Blue Boss and Never Under Charge. Hariba coming to the 500 has a good lead over Primacy, going to second from Durbridge and Paris Lane. Out on the grandstand, it's Sequalo in front now from Scalacci and Spanish Mix, but it's Hariba the leader, I think, at the 300. Marshall says, let's go, big fella, and Hariba the leader over on the flat side, nicely clear. It's Hariba well in front of Sequalo and Scalacci, but Hariba passes 100, a dazzling performance, a mile in front, and the brilliant Hariba scores brilliantly by 5. Spanish Mix, Scalacci just got third from Sequalo, Belzevere, Primacy.
Mere words failed to do Hariba's win justice. The outside section of the Flemington track was definitely faster, yet Hariba came along the inside rail and absolutely destroyed his opposition with an exhibition of power sprinting that will live long in the memories of those fortunate enough to witness it. The acknowledged ratings expert Mark Reed claims this was the highest rating performance by any thoroughbred in Australia in almost a decade, matched only by our international champion Better Loosen Up in the 1991 Australian Cup.
Immature horse. Clem, I said this time, you know, he would be an autumn horse. I thought he'd be at his best in the autumn, and I believe today he's only 90% fit.
Really, and he didn't give the others a chance, did he?
No chance. You don't give nothing a chance from now on.
I hate comparing horses to champions that have been and gone, like such as Manicato, but you could say he's a Manicato from now on. I mean, he's a freak, mate. He's just one out of the box.
And just a tenth of a second outside the course record on dry ground, he could just be unbeatable this autumn.
What did you think of that during the week?
Well, it was the rebirth of another champion here. Hariba is the best sprinter since Vane and Manicato. Here he is in the Australia Stakes, a Moonee Valley hosted meeting at Flemington. He's in the pink cap. He drew barrier 1. There was a substantiated school of thought that the going right next to the inside rail was the worst part of the track. So Simon Marshall steered Hariba 2 or 3 horses away from the rail. He quickly put a gap of 2 or 3 lengths on the rest of the field. And bearing in mind, this is the best field assembled in Australia. For years, collectively, the 11 runners had won $12 million in stakes and won 26 Group 1 races. Now, there's Hariba with electrifying speed, bursting away. I heard you, Max, on 3Z yesterday, quoting someone as a definition of a champion being a great horse who demoralises and thrashes other great horses. Well, surely this is a living example of it. This is the best sprinter we've seen for years. He runs 1/10 of a second outside the record after being eased down. He wins by 5.5 lengths. Swapped the sides of the straight, he would have shattered the record. Ridden out totally, he would have beaten the record. That's a sight that you won't forget in racing for a long time.
Well, you concur.
Great sprint performances of our time. Looking for the equal of that performance, I went back to Todman winning the Lightning Stakes, ending sprinter by 6 lengths. You look at Vane winning the Craven A Stakes, all up the Flemington Straight. Keith, I'd put a question to you. How much does going around a turn diminish the ability of Hariba?
Well, he can do that too. You know, he's a Moonee Valley winner, Max, but gee, he loves the straight. He's almost unbeatable down the straight. In that Mahogany is the only horse that he's ever ridden that you could have your house on first up.
Now, he will meet Hariba first up in the Lightning Stakes. Could he beat him?
I'll bet your house, not mine.
What do you think, Max?
It's a matter of price, Bruce. I don't know whether any horse could beat Hariba. But nevertheless, Hariba at 2's on, Mahogany at 5 to 1. I know where my money will be, but then again, I'm a little bit prejudiced when it comes to Mahogany over short courses.
So the club tie is pink and grey, and that's where Hariba got his colours.
Racing today was at Flemington with the feature race, the Chester Manifold Stakes. Caller is 3UZ's Brian Martin.
Cut up rough in front down to the 350-metre markers. Length and about a length and a half. 2 in front now. From Stellis, then Mr. Elegant, Trista Love, Telesto out in the centre of the track, but Cut Up Rough has zipped away. It's home. It's 4 or 5 in front. Telesto coming with a mighty run out wide, but Cut Up Rough scores easily. 3 lengths Telesto.
A big performance by Cut Up Rough, ridden by Alf Matthews. The 4-year-old started favourite at 7 to 4. Second Telesto at 6s, and third Trista Love at 7 to 2.
Unbeaten at Flemington.
Now, this is a star-studded field contesting today's CF4 Stakes. One of the best I've seen in the history of the race. For the CF4. Line good. They're off. And Hurricane Sky jumped well, and Jern missed the start by a length, and was our Pompeii coming down the side. Blue Boss in charge of the 1,000, led by over a length the Hurricane Sky over on the outside of Scalacci, close up, and back behind them over on the outside Primacy there, followed by Spanish Mix and Bells of Her racing 3 deeper. Never Under Charge going up along the inside, a length and a half further back. Paris Lane followed by Jern, Oppressor, Innocent King, and our Pompeii is last of all. Coming up to the 600-metre mark, and Blue Boss travelling along nicely in the leader. Led over a length the Hurricane Sky, being followed by Primacy. Scalacci's getting a lovely run on the inside. Just behind them, Bells of Her. They're followed by Never Under Charge. Paris Lane back behind them. Jern as they straighten up. 400 to go. The leader is Blue Boss. On the outside, Hurricane Sky, and Scalacci getting in the clear. Is starting to run home very well as they come down to the 200. Hurricane Sky is coming at Blue Boss, and Scalacci got chopped off at that point, and Never Under Charge. And Jern down the outside is going to beat them all. It's swamping them. Jern hit the front. Jern has raced away to a convincing win. The Melbourne Cup winner of last year wins the CFL brilliantly. Jern is first, Hurricane Sky or Scalacci in a photo for second and third, followed by Blue Boss. Back behind them, Never Under Charge, Paris Lane, Innocent King, Bells of Her, our Pompeii, Oppressor, Spanish Mix, and last is Primacy.
Jern this afternoon smashed the track record in winning the CFL Stakes at Sandown. Here's 3UZ's Brian Martin.
Jern pulled to the centre of the track, outside in Paris Lane. Scalacci trying to get out. It's Hurricane Sky going up quickly now to Blue Boss, then further out on the track. Here he comes, Jern. Jern with a mighty run now, races up to Hurricane Sky. He ducked in, Jern took the lead from Hurricane Sky. Scalacci gets out late, but it's Jern. Jern does it at Talek and races away. Jern wins it by 3 lengths.
Ridden by Wayne Harris, the Melbourne Cup champ started at 11 to 2. Second, Hurricane Sky at 6s. And third, the great
out 3 wide. Bells of Air comes 4 wide round the turn, and then Spanish Mix and Never Under Charge. Jern got off the fence, Paris Lane, and he's outside. Blue Boss at the 300, about a length in front. Scalacci trying desperately to get out of a pocket. Hurricane Sky racing up to Blue Boss. Scalacci chopped out of it, then Never Under Charge. Here's Jern. Here's Jern descending on them very quickly. The Cup winner raced to the front of the last 100, racing away from Hurricane Sky. Then came Scalacci, but it's all Jern, and Jern returns to the track brilliantly by 3 lengths. Photo the minus Hurricane Sky or Scalacci.
A stunning
record-winning return by Jern, joining Comic Court at Tallack and Let's Elope, who'd won the Melbourne Cup and then the Ore Stakes.
He showed again today what a good horse he is, and always quite frightened the European stallions when they come over here. They start thinking of being playboys and not racehorses, but this horse might be a little bit different because he'll push and shove when they give it to him.
That's why we come racing, I think, to see performances like that occasionally, and that was one of those extra special performances.
Jern may not start again until the Australian Cup. Scalacci was a shade unlucky. Hurricane Sky, a great trial for next week's Australian Guineas.
He didn't be getting home very strongly, but I don't think any of us expected him to be as superb as he was today.
As it turned out, it was our lucky day again, and he was awesome the way he blew him away at the finish.
Even the opposition couldn't hold back.
Sensational effort. It was, who'd have thought the race was going to be set up with a pace that would produce a course record.
In the autumn.
For the Australian Cup.
His Melbourne Cup win was sent.
But the punter's pick.
And yesterday, particularly at Sandown with the Ore Stakes, and in the last 2 weeks, we've seen Hariba absolutely brilliant at Flemington and Jern brilliant at Sandown. And suddenly, Keith Hillier, there is some excitement in the weight for age ranks. We've all been pretty critical of what I thought was an ordinary spring weight for age-wise. This has turned it around.
Well, absolutely. We've got Hariba, of course, Bruce, and yesterday, Jern emerged as surely he's going to be the weight for age star of the autumn, probably the weight for age star for a couple of seasons to come. His win yesterday on the Ore Stakes was one of the most authoritative I've seen in high class for years.
I tell you what, Max, good to see you again. And one of the interesting things about Jern, like Better Loosen Up, he seems to have come back from Japan better. A lot of horses go to Japan and struggle. Not this fellow.
Gentlemen, you're getting carried away again. That, of course, was Jern at his best, and I do congratulate David Hayes in getting the best out of this English bull. But will he be able to keep him there? That is the question. As you pointed out, an outstanding performance yesterday. I'm not taking anything away from Jern yesterday, but Jern can put in a bad one.
Well, sudden, he makes the others look like little leaguers. I've not seen a horse really, Max, go past top-class gallopers so quickly. Look at those giant strides. He runs the last 200 metres in 10.6 seconds.
Yeah, I know, that is an outstanding performance, and I think we should pay credit too to Wayne Harris, because obviously Wayne brings the best out in this horse, and that was the best yesterday. You know, I tipped him in the Japan Cup, and I thought there was plenty of run merit in the performance.
Max, you didn't tip him yesterday. You tipped Paris Lane. You're not talking through your pocket, are you?
Yes, you bring that up. But, Bruce, I'd just like to point out, yesterday he was in good form. Perhaps from here on in, he will remain consistent. I hope that is the case. But I do think Paris Lane will improve on yesterday. I just get the feeling that Lee Friedman is giving this stayer a good foundation, and I don't think he's been 100% wound up as yet.
I think you're right there, Max, because had it not been for Jeune, then Lane's run where he
you don't want to back Paris Lane to beat Jeune next start, do you?
Oh, no way. Nothing will beat Jeune next start if he reproduces that run.
Of course. You poor clowns. You'll be laying odds on. The horse will come out of the barriers 5 lengths last, and there'll be Paris Lane sitting in the box seat at about 5 to 1. Sure, I want to back Paris Lane at those odds.
I want... Ready. Off and running in the Guineas, Dry still last of all. At the 800-metre mark, and St Covered travelling well in the lead by a length and a half. Hurricane Sky in close touch, 2 lengths further back. Then over on the inside, Dry Humour, Don Pasquale moving around the outsider. Del Sol is next, followed by Dennis Singer, Blevik and Barishnikov is last of all as they come around the home turner. 500 metres left to go. Hurricane Sky moving up on the outside to tackle St Covered, is still the leader as they set sail for Homer. And they're clear from Don Pasquale coming down the outside. Dry Humour back behind them, Barishnikov, and then Dennis Singer and Blevik's a long way back as they come to the 250. Hurricane Sky is joining St Covered as they come down past the 200. Hurricane Sky and Don Pasquale is down the outside, and Barishnikov is finishing very fast along the inside. St Covered tackled by Hurricane Sky, and Barishnikov on the inside finishing solidly. Barishnikov on the inside takes a slight lead. Barishnikov has won the Guineas from Hurricane Sky. Ahead away third St Covered. Fourth home Don Pasquale, followed by Dennis Singer. Back behind them Dry Humour, Del Sol, and the last home is Blevik.
Run. Going down to the 300-metre mark, St Covered, Hurricane Sky from Don Pasquale, and the grey Barishnikov going to the rail. Then Dana Singer and Blevik is not in it. St Covered, Barishnikov, the rail from Hurricane Sky, 3 in line. Barishnikov got the rails run, grabbed Hurricane Sky. Barishnikov going home better, Barishnikov.
A great ride by Jimmy Cassidy on the Kerry Jordan train colt. He started it.
And Barishnikov back on the rail. St Covered turned into the straight, the leader. Hurricane Sky up to challenge him at the 400-metre mark. Wider out Don Pasquale. And then Dry Humour, Barishnikov. And Blevik is last of all with 250 to go. St Covered and Hurricane Sky the leaders. Barishnikov going for the rail and Don Pasquale. St Covered and Hurricane Sky being tackled on the rail by Barishnikov. Barishnikov, St Covered, Hurricane Sky. A line of 3. Barishnikov, Hurricane Sky. Barishnikov got up on the rail and has won it from Hurricane Sky, and nose away third is St Covered.
And inspired.
And tender item back as far as what he got, but he's just relaxing so much, you know, and he's really given me indication that the AJC Derby might be his go.
Whether they're going good or I'm going bad, either or either, we stick together and boost one another. So that's what racing's all about, and you're always a champion for about 15 seconds, so let's make the most of it.
Barishnikov 10s into 7 to 1. Will next race in the Autumn Stakes, and Alistair Clark before returning to Sydney for the Rosehill Guineas and Derby. Blevik knuckled at the start and pulled up sore.
I could see St Covered starting to come.
This is Jimmy Cassidy on Barishnikov. We thought that it was a 3-horse race, St Covered, Hurricane Sky and Blevik. Blevik crashed into the gate when he left. He has done himself an injury. He finished last. St Covered led. Eased off the rail. That's St Covered in the pink there. And Barishnikov, Jimmy Cassidy driving him through a gap that wasn't there at the time. Under pressure, St Covered moves away from the rail. Cassidy gets through, and there's Barishnikov, a worthy winner of the Cadbury Australian Guineas.
He is a good horse. Did you compare St Covered with Bow Road last week, or was that me, Max? I can't remember.
No, I think he got the title last week. I won't repeat the title, but nevertheless, it was Jim Cassidy that won the Cadbury Australian Guineas. Very little between those horses, and it's
Blevik.
Well, he's at the crossroads, I think, well...
Injury-wise. Will he run and go on to the autumn in Sydney, do you think?
It all depends, you know, I mean, that will take some getting over, I'd imagine, the injury that made him run so poorly yesterday, Bruce.
Of Mahogany. Field is set. Light on for the Blamey. And they're off. 900 metres out, and they're well strung out. And Durbridge setting a solid pace, about a length to Blue Boss, a length and a half Crystal Love on the outside of Station Hand. In behind them is a presser as they pass the 800, followed by Ralline on the rails, a length and a half Starstruck. Innocent King is commencing a forward move, and further back to Paris Lane. Next over on the outside to Ice Doctor, followed by Royal Stack, and still last of all to Leicester. Round the turn, 550 metres out as they straighten up, and Durbridge travelling well. Leads a length and a half. Blue Boss in third place is Crystal Love down the outside. Station Hand getting the run on the rails is finishing on. Further back is Ralline. Paris Lane's a long way back as they come down past the 400. And Durbridge is battling on tenaciously. Station Hand trying to get through on the inside. Deeper on the track, Crystal Love, and they're followed then by Blue Boss and Starstruck, and Paris Lane under the Weber. But Durbridge is going strongly. Here comes Station Hand down the outside. Durbridge is the leader. Station Hand is trying to get to Durbridge, is battling on courageously. Durbridge is too strong. Durbridge by a half length to Station Hand. 2 lengths away third. Starstruck a good run. Paris Lane has run home well for fourth, followed by Innocent King, and then Blue Boss and Crystal Love, who weakened out of it. Royal Snack behind them, Ralline, Ice Doctor, and the last couple home to Leicester, who failed to fire today, and back with him was a presser.
The second leg of the daily double was the Blamey Stakes.
Durbridge in front down to the 300 metre mark, a length and a half in front of Crystal Love. Then Starstruck, Station Hand. Paris Lane a fair way off them from Ralline. Old Durbridge still in front. Station Hand after him. Crystal Love can't go on from Starstruck, but I think it's going to be back-to-back again. Yes, the grand old campaigner. Durbridge all the way a half.
Yes, he's a champion, and the Lee Freedman trained flyer started at 6-1. Second, Station Hand at 20s, and Starstruck was third.
He'll give him some run in the Australian Cup. I don't worry about Jern and that. He'll give him some run because he's a great horse round here.
Great racehorse, beating Station Hand and Starstruck. And
desperate to talk about Durbridge a moment ago. He's out in front of the Blamey Stakes when we picked them up. He is a remarkable old horse. By the way, he's not a champion.
He's a great horse.
But we're not going to go on with that with the old rough habit again. But he was very good again yesterday, wasn't he?
Well, he won the Blamey last year. Only 6 other horses have done that. The most recent, Better Loosen Up and Bow Rogue. When he gets his own way in front, he is virtually unbeatable. He was presented with the race yesterday, but he was at the crossroads. This was the run that the Freedman camp were considering retirement for Durbridge if he didn't fire. Have a look at him go. A fantastic performance from the old fellow Durbridge. Paris Lane, the more favoured stablemate. A tradesman-like effort. A finish from what might be a good horse, but not a great horse. And Crystal Love, either she hasn't come up, which I favour, or she's at least a run behind this campaign.
Both Station Hand and Starstruck, I thought, were very good runs. For 2 horses that are not really weight for age, even though Station Hand ran second behind Durbridge last year. Not like Jern at the moment, that's for sure. Max Danewin was the biggest story of the day, I think, all around Australia, even eclipsing Baryshnikov and Durbridge here. What a run by this horse in the Royal Sovereign.
Yes, they were going along at a goodly tempo there, and that's Danewin, the green colours, back in about 5th or 6th place on the fence. Now, Shane Dye takes advantage of the rails run. He's being trailed a few horses back by Brave Warrior, but note, Dye takes the rails run here. Now, this is a class horse, racing over 1,200 metres. Look at the way he knuckles down to the task. But there's the Queenslander surging along the rails too. I think Danewin has got too much firepower at this stage, but you'll note that the runner-up does make up ground on Danewin, but full honours to Danewin, a good horse, a fit horse, a well-trained horse, a horse that was well-ridden and will win more races.
2 quick things. Dan Zero...
Belong to him, and I think he's going to be right.
Well, long way to go yet. Jackie Shea, is he coming down to ride him?
Last reports, Jackie will be here to take over on Danewin, but of course a lot of rice has got to go through the tonsils between now and Derby time.
Well, I think oh, no, I can't say it. I think Shane Dye would like to keep the mount. Probably a few people would like him to keep it as well. Moss Rocket, Keith, between the spring and the autumn. In the spring, in the big race for fillies, 1,000 guineas, Danarani 2-1 favourite. Love of Mary 5-2. Yesterday, both beaten out of a place. This newcomer, Flight to Fantasy, I say newcomer, a late starter, is won most handsomely yesterday. There she is with the white blazer.
Glued the start, and Dye cruised up into a good position on the fence there, but there were a couple of awkward moments until Dye got out. But Danarani, I think you forget that run. Aragon ran on well, but looked big. But this is the run of a real good racehorse. Now,
is she better than the other one? Better than the other Gay Waterhouse one?
Yeah, in my opinion, she is. Now, look at this. She's got out. Now, have a look at it, charging up to the lead. Aragon, with carrying much more weight, will run on encouraging it. But look at that. She's just coasting to the line.
It's been an amazing season, one we're in here. praising the performances of runners and making excuses for others. And the next week it's a different set. It's been a topsy-turvy and all the reins at the top have been very short.
Look, we've got to...
Before we continue with the Melbourne Autumn Carnival, it's important to look at two major races in New Zealand. The Cambridge Jockey Club's February meeting at Te Rapa Racecourse has become increasingly important in recent years. Their showcase race is the Cambridge International Stakes, a Group 1 over 2,000 metres at weight for age.
800 metres out now, and Walsh gives Solvent more rain, and he sneaks away 2.5, the WS Cox Plate winner. Lord Major running second at this point via Suez, then followed All in Fun becoming prominent. The Phantom still on the outside. A length and a half back to Captain Court, then Lord Majestic, followed by Quidado, and Frequent is last of all. Up towards the turn they come, 500 metres to go, and Solvent the leader. A half length clear from via Suez, and the Phantom works round 3 wide. A length and a half away, All in Fun looking for the rails run, and will get it to as Solvent moved off the rail. Homeward bound they are, 350 metres to go, Solvent, but I think All in Fun's taken it very quickly. Out wide of the Phantoms, battling from Quidado, then followed by via Suez. 250 to go, it's All in Front, the leader. Out by 2.5 and hard to catch. Quidado's running on, so too is Frequent, then Solvent only battling. The Phantom can't do it, but it's All in Front, and Jimmy Collett being punched out, and All in Front wins the Cambridge State International Stakes. Third at the line was Quidado, second Quidado, then Frequent.
A popular win to one of New Zealand's most genuine and consistent gallopers. All in Fun has now won 11 races from just 34 starts across 4 seasons of competition, including a trip to Australia, where he was placed in the 1994 BMW at Rose Hill. The winning rider was Jim Collett. Here is a field Australian racegoers will recognise. The Waikato Draft Sprint is run the same afternoon as the Cambridge International and is one of New Zealand's 2 Group 1 races conducted over 1,400 metres at weight for age. The two to dominate discussions were last season's dual classic winner Snap and the brilliant but unsound Calm Harbour, for 2 years touted as the best horse in the country.
Down the side, 600 metres out in the Waikato Draft Sprint, and the pacemaker is Ferragamo. Leads a half length on Snap, poised to pounce, then followed round by Al Akbar. Javelin works round on the outside. Calm Harbour is next, being niggled out a little, followed by Silver Chalice, then followed round by Dan Jiki as they come into the straight. Further back, Weekend Warrior, Lord Trident couldn't win. They head for home, 350 metres to go, and Snap's levelled up now to take the lead from Ferragamo. About 3 away to Javelin, wider out Calm Harbour. I think he's too far off them. Snap's taken the lead. Fulani in second spot. On the inside is Ferragamo, then Silver Chalice. Calm Harbour wider out with Javelin. Ferragamo's coming back at Snap. Snap still in front though, she's holding Ferragamo, and Snap, the honeymoon didn't do him any harm, did it? It Snap won it for Lance. Second at the line was Ferragamo, third over Calm Harbour. Calm Harbour.
That made 10 wins from just 18 starts for Snap.
Look, we've got to leave it there. I'll bet you Mahogany Max beats Ariba in the Lightning Stakes. Do you want to back that? Something on that?
What are you up to? I think you've gone berserk. What does it be?
Tip today reckons it's a good thing at odds at Flemington called Ariba. What sort of odds, Keith?
Oh, about 2 to 1 on, I think. I think it probably will open 5 to 2 on, but it will win. It's well, it's a Pegasus of racing, Bruce. It's the flying horse. In fact, Ariba last start at Flemington went so fast that had he done it on a Melbourne street, he'd be booked for speeding. 67.5 kilometres an hour he was doing.
It's exciting, isn't it? And Mahogany, well, that first up record. More about that later. Good. Well, Hariba's might be long. He's 5 to 2 on today as we look ahead to the Lightning. I joked last week with you, Max, about Mahogany. I'd give him just a mad chance. I think he's too short at 9 to 2. He's probably an 8 or 10 to 1 chance, but he is brilliant first up.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly going to have my money on him. I'm not saying he's a good thing to beat the speed freak, but I think he'll give you a sight.
Yes, I think...
Racing, Hariba began well with Sequalo. Racing, Hariba began well with Sequalo on the outside. Elenon began quickly. Mahogany jumped away okay as well, and Keltreese, Brawny Spirit jumped into stride pretty well. They go through the first 150 metres now, and it's Brawny Spirit on the rail. Keltreese is outside, deeper out Sequalo, and Hariba 4 deep on their outside. Just about a line of 4 right across the track there. Elenon in behind them from Fighter Bay. Then Mahogany, and last of all, as they settle fully into stride, Artie Bloody Mary. Running to the 500-metre mark now. Hariba under a tight rein has gone up to join Sequalo, Keltreese, Brawny Spirit on the rail. 2 lengths behind them, then Aladon called on, and they're followed then by Mahogany under a bit of pressure at the 300-metre mark now. And it's on the outside, Hariba. He's calling on him to do something. Sticking with him there on the outside is Alanon. In fact, he's in trouble, Hariba. Alanon's claimed him, and Mahogany now. And Keltreese fighting back. No, Hariba. It's a shock. It's Mahogany dashing to the front, and Mahogany scores. Mahogany's beaten Alanon. Third is Keltreese.
A sensation.
The odds-on favourite was unable to cross from the outside gate, and in the closing stages it was evident an upset was on the cards.
Hariba under a bit of pressure is tackled by Eleanor. Here comes Mahogany down the outside, and Keltreese is fighting on. Hariba beaten, and Mahogany on the outside coming at these leaders. Mahogany wins the Lightning. Mahogany wins it by a half length. Eleanor, Keltreese third.
Last season's Horse of the Year was given a great ovation on returning to scale.
Keltreese 2 lengths further back in the race. Eleanor. Hariba's under pressure. He's under pressure now as Eleanor goes up to Hariba, who's struggling. And here comes Mahogany down the outside. Eleanor in front. Mahogany's got them. Mahogany's hit the front of the Horse of the Year's come home to win. Mahogany first up.
Resuming from a spell, a great win by Mahogany, which started at 11-2. Second, Alanon at 20s, and third, Keltreese at 15-1. Hariba.
The shock was Hariba, but certainly not Mahogany. The reigning Horse of the Year has always sprinted fresh, today no exception as he returned from a back injury. Lee Freedman is now eyeing an international campaign.
Well, he'll be, kept to mainly sprints here during the autumn. I would dearly love to take the horse to England during the winter for races like the Sussex Stakes or the James Palace, but I mean that all depends on what the two boys and the horse want to do.
Food for thought for Mr. Packer and Mr. Williams. Mick Dittman rode 3 winners yesterday, but none for Lee. He fixed that in the right race.
If you know what a jockey's feeling is on a horse in a race of that calibre, with 200 metres to go, you got no idea how hard he was trying to win and how much ground he was trying to reach for. And that's the sign of a champion horse. I haven't had too many horses do that.
Hariba's loss, though, remained a mystery, even some time after the race. The club's vet reported no abnormality. A swab was taken. Jockey Simon Marshall said he was beaten at the 500. His trainer was perplexed, but not disappointed.
I built him right up to the highest mountain, and then all of a sudden, they can all get beat, horses, man. I mean, you're taking on the best in the land, you'll get beat, one day. We'll come back again.
Summing up the thoughts of everyone on dismounting.
He got a bit of class.
Good animal, isn't it?
Win any race in the land.
To win in Lightning Stakes, with the horse that's won 2 derbies, and to beat the best sprinters around, and Hariba and that, he had to be the champion that he is, and he showed that today.
Surprisingly, trainer Ken Newman said the distance might have brought about Hariba's undoing.
I don't believe he is a 1,000-metre horse. I believe he's 1,200 metres plus, and if I had any doubt, as I say, that's all it would have been, yeah.
The Lightning Stakes last Sunday, Hariba was 11-4 on. Mahogany 11-2, he's on the left of the screen. He's a super first-up horse, this Mahogany, and the touch-up I was going to say, Max, I agree with you, he's a sprinter miler rather than the stay. It shows what a great horse he is. But Keith, it is a different tempo, 1,000 metres to 1,200. I think this found Hariba out.
It was Hariba's second start only in his career at a distance less than 1,200, and his second flop. Now there's Mahogany. Mick Dittman said at the 600 he thought, this fella's going well, I should run a place. At the 300 he knew he had to win. And as the race progressed, the bounds from Mahogany were getting larger, longer. He's a great first-up horse.
Come on, Mahogany versus Jern, and maybe Hariba in the futurity. Who are you going for?
I think I'd have to stick with Mahogany.
Mahogany.
You turn, Cat. You turn, Cat.
He's never stuck in his life, has he, Max? It's Jern, Mahogany, or maybe Hariba if he starts.
I'm definitely a Mahogany man, always
You've got a shaky hold on the president of the fan club, I can tell you. You're not a solid president.
As a sprinter, I've never had any doubts about Mahogany. I can't believe that you feel that was the real Hariba. Hariba did not produce his best last Sunday. I think his best is certainly superior to what he showed last Sunday. I'm not saying it's good enough to beat Mahogany, but that certainly wasn't the best.
You're now imagining quotes from me, Max. I agree, it wasn't the real Hariba. That winning time, Hariba can run that on the track. And as we found out the next day, had a mild virus. Sure. We hope he does come back, because he is better than that.
Now, we're out quickly, you two.
Done. The Lightning Stakes is the first leg of a triple crown for sprinters in Melbourne. However, it takes a special kind of horse to win all 3, because the second leg occurs just 6 days later at Caulfield, the Group 1 Oakley Plate.
And a key Maxim.
The Oakley Plate, Poetic King, backed almost to the exclusion of every runner, missed the start slide.
And picked them up at the start.
Racing in the Oakley Plate, and Poetic King seemed to bound in the air at the start, missed it slightly. Away fast Daring Ombre, Hero Wind, Elenon and Barcurra burning up near the inside. Poetic King settling down the middle of the field. And a clear last is Carptingly. It's Daring Ombre last is Carptingly. It's Daring Ombre on the outside, a narrow leader at the 800 metre mark. Going up on the inside is Barcurra, between them Sequalo. They make a line of 3. 2 lengths Procrastinate. Keltrice on the rail, and then Elenon. A length and a half the heavyweight Hero Wind, Poetic King. Then Pride of the Force, followed by Fighter Bay, Royal Discard and Carptingly last of all. 8 lengths covered them. Coming up towards the turn, Barcurra, Sequalo, the 2 leaders. From Daring Ombre, Procrastinate. Waiting for the run, Keltrice. On wide out coming around them, and then the heavyweight and Poetic King a fair way back round the turn. Sequalo, Barcurra turn together. 2 lengths to Keltrice. Poetic King getting up on the inside. Elenon the heavyweight are winding up out wide. Sequalo at the 150, tackled by Keltrice. Poetic King is barging through the heavyweight wide out with Carptingly. Sequalo grabbed by Keltrice. The heavyweight coming, and Carptingly is flying. It'll get there. Carptingly has flashed home and has won it.
A fitting reward here for some visionary planning on the part of trainer David Hall and jockey Alf Matthews.
David Hall was hoping for big things in the Oakley Plate. When Captainly was last at the 400, it looked like Hall would miss out on his first Group 1 win. But the 4-year-old made a flashing run down the outside.
They're across the track. Captainly from last is going to win the Oakley.
A handsome payout for Captainly. He'll now be prepared for the Newmarket Handicap. Poetic King was the unplaced favourite.
Excellent record. The beautifully bred Carptingly gave former South Australian trainer David Hall his first Group 1 winner.
How did you feel in the run when he was last?
I was a bit nervous. Had the heart in the mouth, but I mean, he's got a terrific turn of foot, this horse, and he certainly showed it today.
For Alf Matthews, a special thrill, winning for his good mate David Hall.
I suppose just being with him for so long, I'd have been very disappointed had it have been some other jockey, but I don't have to ever worry about that now.
Carptingly started second favourite at 5-1. Next stop, the Newmarket Handicap.
Should hold up for the Newmarket. Terrific performance by the winner, and he can handle the straight. He was second to Ariba in the South Court.
Yes, he's had 4 wins from only 11 starts. He's 51.5 kilos in the Newmarket. The handicapper Alan Wicks was ill and not at the track yesterday. I spoke with him a short time ago. He's still looking at the merits of that performance. I think he'll get 1.5 kilos.
What did you make of Poetic King, Max? One of your favourite horses. I've got a bit of a theory. Small horse, big weight. He might struggle with big weights.
Oh, I couldn't argue with that. And he did struggle with the weights yesterday. It was just a matter of Carptingly being too good at the weights. And the heavy weights, you'll note, took out the minor placing on the limit, 50. Poetic King got a nice run at the right time, but just couldn't accelerate under the burden, whereas the other lighter weight horses had more zip at the finish.
Fair enough. Well, from the...
Out of the Mercedes-Benz Blue Diamond Stakes, we've got time for another quick tote call. Number 1 Padre is still at 14-1. El Quahira's Son at 8-1. Tuscany Flyer at 13-2. 7-2 Solid Flying Spur, now challenging for favouritism. 7-1 Shaded from Sydney. Zedrich is showing $4.10, just over 3-1. Principality showing $11.
Stand by for a start. Lights are on, they're off, and Principality is last of all. Racing down the side, 850 to go. Tuscany Flyer leads a length on Zedrich. Close up behind them over on the outside, Tennessee Magic, a length and a half to Padre. And up in the leading group is Frosty the Snowman. 2 lengths further back is Homestead, being followed closely by Shaded, who's over on the outside. Then El Quahira's Son, 3 lengths away, Donar. Flying Spurs second last as they come around the home turn, and last of all, Principality. On the turn, Tuscany Flyer, a half length to Zedrich, getting through along the inside, but disappointed for a run slightly. Tuscany Flyer in front at the 400, kicked over a length and a half, clear as Zedrich as they straighten up. Tennessee Magic running on behind them, Padre a long gap to El Quahira's Son. Tuscany Flyer is the leader. Here comes Zedrich down the outside, issuing the challenger. Zedrich on the outside, coming at Tuscany Flyer, and deeper on the track is Tennessee Magic, Padre and Principality, and Flying Spur is flying home. Principality takes the lead in the diamond. It's Principality won the Blue Diamond, Flying Spur second. I think Tuscany Flyer third. Donar, Padre, Tennessee Magic, Zedrich weakened. El Quahira's Son behind them, and then Homestead followed by Shaded, and last of all is Frosty the Snowman.
He's trained Principality to perfection.
It's Tuscany Flyer in front. Here's Principality from last. Principality storming home from last in the field. He'll win the diamond, Principality.
Principality started at 8s. Second, the favourite, Flying Spur at 13-4.
There is a long way back again, hanging around the home turn, and then Principality, Donar, Tuscany Flyer, led 2 lengths into the straight. Zedrich had to check across his heels, comes out after him now. Tennessee Magic running a good race, and then Padre and further back Principality, Flying Spur, Tuscany Tuscany Flyer in front. Zedrich coming at him. Tuscany Flyer from Zedrich. Here's Principality. Principality swamping Tuscany Flyer. And Principality drives away. Principality bolts in. Second went to Flying Spur. I think Tuscany Flyer just held third in a photo.
First, a stunning finish by Principality to give David Hayes his second diamond in only 5 years of training.
Very closely related. He's line bred to Tierce. So, you know, and he did a mighty effort then. It was a great ride. He showed some guts going in. I thought, oh, Rod, what are you doing?
And the first of a big double for Rod Griffiths, the favourite, and after the leaders set a breakneck pace.
It's the first maiden to win the Blue Diamond.
Yes, yeah, it was a big thrill. Rodney rode him down the straight, and he decided to stay with the horse, and I'm glad he did, because he rode an inspired race. It was truly a great ride.
Dead same time as the open sprint. Gee, he was the more you look at it, the more impressive he looked, Principality.
Yes, it was a soft win, really. You know, I think it was a Group 1 race, but he didn't really need to hit him.
The race is no longer a race for speedsters, David, is it? It's a race for 1,400-metre horses.
Yes, you know, it's a real swoopers race, really, and the slipper's very much in that way as well.
What about Lee Freedman?
Trainer David Hayes elected to use blinkers for the first time. Mahogany's first-up win in the Lightning Stakes and Jean's explosive victory in the Orr Stakes were two of autumn's most memorable moments. Both horses were aimed towards the Futurity Stakes at Caulfield, a race promoted as a clash of the Titans. But how many...
Freedman just said to me, this could be the race of the season, and you're going to see it live right in your own lounge room on the wide world of sports. It's the Futurity Stakes. Number 1 is Jean, showing exactly $2.90 now on the tote, odds of about 15 to 8. Scalacci, one of the Freedman runners, is at 11 to 2, 40 to 1 Soho Square, 9 to 1 Never Under Charge, $2.80, odds of about 7 to 4 Mahogany, trained by Freedman as well. He's the favourite, Mick Dittman the jockey. Pride of Rancho is at 50 to 1, Spanish Mix at 20 to 1, almost into 11 to 2 now, $6.70. Snap, the New Zealand mare, to be ridden by David Walsh.
Light racing. And the first to jump, Spanish Mix. Compact field coming down the side, 850 metres left to go. Scalacci, the leader, led by 3/4 of a length on Mahogany, and just in behind them, Never Under Charge. Snapper's getting a nice run on the inside. Close in behind them, Spanish Mix being followed by Pride of Rancho. A bit further back is Soho Square, and Jean is last of all. That's the order, 650 metres out. Scalacci making play, led nearly a length on Mahogany. A half a length around the outside. Never Under Charge is going forward, being followed by Snap, who's getting a beautiful run on the inside. Close in behind them, making round, Spanish Mix there, followed by Pride of Rancho, Soho Square. Jean is still last of all as they round the home turn. Mahogany's ranged up on the outside to tackle Scalacci as they set sail for home. Jean is a mile back down the outside, Never Under Charge. Mahogany's hit the front. Scalacci battling on well, followed by Spanish Mix, and back behind them, Snapper's coming home well. It's Scalacci. Scalacci's fighting back gallantly on the inside. Scalacci's hit the front close to home. Scalacci hangs on. Jean flew for second. Scalacci from Jean. Mahogany, I think, third, just ahead of Spanish Mix. Never Under Charge. Snap behind them, Soho Square, and last of all, Pride of Rancho.
Between is. Here are the final stages, and your caller is 3UZ's Brian Martin.
Mahogany's got his head in front. Scalacci fighting back, and they're followed further back by Spanish Mix. It's Scalacci coming again. He's a neck in front of Mahogany and Snap. Jean late down the outside. The Grand Old Grey does it again. Scalacci.
A great finish by Jean, who stormed home to finish second, but the day belonged to crowd favourite Scalacci, who was saluted by punters.
From Soho Square, Jean last of all got a little check off the heels of one in front there. Up to the turn, Mahogany up level now with Scalacci around the turn, Never Under Charge behind them. Then Spanish Mix and Snap, and Jean spotting Mahogany 5. At the top of the straight now, Dittman goes for Mahogany. Scalacci sticks on very gamely. It's Mahogany about a neck in front. Scalacci's fighting back. Scalacci again with his head in front of Mahogany. Wider out, then Spanish Mix and Jean. It's Scalacci in front of Mahogany. Jean motoring, but Scalacci's won it again. Scalacci's won it. I think Jean got second from Mahogany in a photo.
This was one of
Mahogany in a photo.
This was one of racing's most emotional moments in season 94-95. Scalacci had been a Group 1 competitor now for 4 successive seasons, though he never...
Scalacci smashed the $2 million in stakes, a big payday for Rod Griffiths, Blue Diamond and Futurity, all after being suspended at Ballarat last Thursday.
My very first ride on the horse, and I've been out leader riding for some time now, and he gave me a chance today, and he's a freak.
Beautiful ride. When they went through the first half mile at 49 something, I knew he was going to be pretty hard to beat.
Were you disappointed with Mahogany?
Yeah, I was a little. I thought he had a beautiful run in the race to go on and win it, but
You know, as I said, I'm going to have to start thinking about this business second up. He doesn't quite perform as well as he can second up.
Yes, and he fell into 4th place today. Scalacci delighting the big crowd. Jeune, the eye-catching Australian Cup run, with Mahogany out of a place.
And the much-talked-about clash between...
He's the modern-day Gunsynd, you know, he's got the same sort of crowd appeal. People love him.
And the victory completed a memorable day for Rodney Griffiths.
Oh, he's just a freak, you know. He knows where the winning post is, too. And, like, when he got to the winning post, he sort of said, well, I've had enough, you know. But, no, he's a marvel. And it's brilliant to ride such good horses.
Stage, but you can't overrate Scalacci, can you? You were unlucky, I guess, with Jeune. How did you read the futurity yesterday?
I thought that Jeune was the unlucky runner, but Scalacci deserved his win at the same time. And the disappointment had to be Mahogany. He was up there, the race was made for him. I don't know whether it's a second-up syndrome. I don't know whether Lee Friedman has a problem pushing him to perform well second up or holding him back to save him for later. But whatever it is, the time hasn't met so far. And the race was won by Scalacci. The public loved it. Perhaps it should have been won by Jeune, David.
I thought Jeune should have won. Scalacci, a great effort. I honestly, I saw him on Friday, and he's a war horse. He was limping around on Friday, and he flew on Saturday. He's just a great horse and great for racing. But I was pretty sad because I honestly believe Jeune should have won the race.
The remarkable thing about Jeune is that he did win the Melbourne Cup. Been to Japan. He's come back. He's been able to win the Ore, and
well, had he done yesterday what we perhaps agreed that he should have done, it would have been his second win at 1400 metres. No Melbourne Cup winner has ever done that, have they?
No, that's what I was sad about, because I really believe that race was probably one of the grand finals of the sprints in Australia this year, and to have a Melbourne Cup winner do that, it just would have been fabulous.
This is a silly question in a way, but if with this horse, it's
George next, and the durable Durbridge was good odds at 11 to 8.
Cross swords, Durbridge is going strongly, holding his stablemate at bay, and Durbridge wins St George back-to-back, a length and a half.
He's now won over $3.3 million in prize money, 21 wins and 15 placings. Durbridge, a winner of the past 2 Blamey and St George Stakes, started at the very good odds of 11 to 8. Laura's Express scored. Laura's Express scored.
It's Durbridge still in front, though, inside the 200. He's got a big lead. Paris Lane running on pretty well on the outside, but Durbridge is going to lead all the way. Paris Lane running home gamely, a quinella for Lee Friedman, but Durbridge oh so easily. A length to Paris Lane, 2.5. The 7-year-old is obviously cherry ripe, where he's tilted a second successive Australian Cup.
Very competitive time to do that on his own. So, you know, he's getting back to his very best form, and he's going to run a big race in the Australian Cup.
Then, and will be out for about 12 months. Paris Lane showed a return to form in yesterday's St George Stakes when second to his stablemate Durbridge, but he hung in badly over the concluding stages, the first indication that something was amiss. Field Cup winner and Melbourne Cup runner-up has a strained tendon, ending his chances of a Sydney Cup preparation. Lee Friedman.
The fact of the matter is the horses are going to have 12 months off. Give him every chance to get over it, and I'm sure he'll come back.
And $2.80 each of 2 for St Covert and Hurricane Sky. Interesting to hear Brendan saying, and I do agree with him in relation to how this race is won. If St Covert has left Bowl along, he's going to take a power of beating. But I think if they let him get to the front and just keep it...
Small but select field of 3-year-olds over the 1,800 metres. Family on the fence. Down the side they come at the 800-metre mark. St Covert the leader, 3/4 to Hurricane Sky, Wonder Punctual. Then Baryshnikov getting up near the inside, followed by the Golden Greek Pride of Indy Ramley. St Covert's had it his own way out in front. He's 3/4 now, maybe a half in front. Hurricane Sky edging a little bit closer. One away, Punctual, hard ridden. The Golden Greek coming into it very strongly, and Baryshnikov waiting on the fence. Coming up towards the turn, Hurricane Sky got up level with St Covert, and these 2 good 3-year-olds come round the bend together. The Golden Greek threatening on their outside, Baryshnikov waiting as he did in the Guineas. Hurricane Sky and St Covert down towards the 200 together. 1.5 Baryshnikov, the Golden Greek, but Hurricane Sky is the leader. St Covert sticks on gamely. Baryshnikov can't reach them at the moment. Hurricane Sky in front of St Covert, Baryshnikov. Hurricane Sky, St Covert, a drive to the line, a beauty. Hurricane Sky in the centre's one at a nose. Hurricane Sky from St Covert and Baryshnikov, a fantastic finish. Ramley running on for 4th behind them. Then the Golden Greek, followed by Punctual and Pride of Indy.
Well, Simon Marshall getting the best out of Hurricane Sky. Let's have a look at this.
Hurricane Sky let down by Marshall, draws 3/4 in front. St Covered coming back, then Baryshnikov getting into the clear. Hurricane Sky a neck in front. St Covered coming again from Baryshnikov. Hurricane Sky and St Covered. Hurricane Sky with his nose in front. Yes, I think he's just won Hurricane Sky from either St Covered or Baryshnikov.
A terrific ride by Simon Marshall, and trainer Gerald Ryan will now set Hurricane Sky for the Alistair Clark in a fortnight. He started equal favourite at 9-4, second St Covered also at 9-4, and third Baryshnikov at 3s.
Nose! As 2-year-olds, they proved to be superior, and now they're back doing it as 3-year-olds. Hurricane Sky improving his great Caulfield record, and there's more big ones in store.
He'll run in the Alistair Clark in a fortnight, and all being well, he'll go and run in the Rosehill Guineas and then the Derby, but if he shows he can't stay...
The Blue Diamond first and second, Principality and Flying Spur, backed up a week later in the Group 1 Vobis Sires Produce Stakes at Flemington. Although both races...
At the 800, Concur just the leader. El Kahira's son sitting on his outside. One further back is Lockray, who eased back a little there. Flying Spur got up on his inside, so Debonair, having no luck, is caught very wide coming to the turn. Tallulah touch back on the inside, and they're followed by Donar. Then Backgammon, and Principality is last into the straight, as he was in the Blue Diamond. Concur at the 500 led into the straight. Concur about a length in front. Coming after him, El Kahira's son. Tallulah touch just behind them. Lockray under the whip. Flying Spur in on the fences under pressure, and running on Donar from Backgammon and Principality out wide at the 250-metre mark, and Lockray loomed up to go to the lead. Donar threatening immediately. Then El Kahira's son. Principality not in it. It's Lockray in front. Donar coming after it. It's Lockray about half a length in front of Donar, trying hard, but Lockray is going powerfully, and Lockray wins the size half a length to Donar. Flying Spur a length away third, and then El Kahira's son again Backgammon.
The 19th, Lockray, the insider, half in front of Donar. They're fighting it out now from further back, Flying Spur. Lockray is fighting back, though. Lockray in front, and Lockray wins the Sires a half length.
Lockray started at 3-1, with Donar second at 7s.
Most of his rivals tackled last week's Blue Diamond. Lockray, the fresh horse, showed wonderful fight. He'll now be spelled and...
This was a good training performance by Gerald Ryan. He's going to put him straight out for a spell, Keith. But the Blue Diamond form fell all apart. And, you know, Flying Spur again, I thought was pretty disappointing, and Principality didn't fire one shot.
Gerald Ryan overlooked the Blue Diamond to concentrate on this Sires Produce for Lockray, and that's him in the brown and the gold colours of the Hawthorn Football Club, giving Ron and Dorothy Cook yet another big race win. They've won 5 Group 1 races. Lady Jackie O and Jolly Old Mac gave them 2 each, and this is a very good youngster. Flying Spur, he's tough and he's still going to Sydney. Principality's a little fellow, and he just didn't back up after his tough run to win the Blue Diamond last week.
Donar second, Melbourne form, no. Not the 2-year-old.
Well,
I won't be careful, no. I've come straight out and say, no, I think they'll get rolled.
Exclusive Halo might be our best chance in the...
he wasn't racing
there. No, in the Golden Slipper.
Straight 1,200 metres, the Newmarket handicap, in which Hariba has been very heavily backed with bookmakers. You're lucky to get yours for theirs with them. On the tote, he's showing around about 230 at the moment, which is odds of about 5-4. Never Undercharge is a scratching, TAB number 2. Poetic King, the Lee Friedman representative, will appreciate this little bit of give in the ground. He's at 8-1. All Our Mob from Gay Waterhouse's stable in Sydney, very well fancied. Just sweating a touch is at 12-1. Moss Rocket all the way down from the coalfields at New Oakley Plate winner Carptingley. Alf Matthews the jockey, Carptingley at 8-1. Cut Up Rough representing David Hayes. Mick Dittman the jockey, and what fine form Dittman's in again at the moment. Cut Up Rough is at 9-1. Fox fair odds, and he ran such a great race in the Oakley Plate. He's at 25-1.
Poetic King there's the light. They're up and running, and Hariba jumped out pretty well. Out quickly towards the inside. Pay the Kings is going very fast, and just in behind them, Sequala got away quickly, and so did Caltrice a bit further back. And they were followed by I Love Sydney, who's coming down the centre of the track with Carptingley. Now towards the grandstand side of the track, and Poetic King has crossed straight over there, and he's the early leader with Bimanaria going fast, and Nunsing in the heavyweight. And as they come down past the 800-metre mark, Pay the King's on the inside, one of the leaders here with Royal Discard and Hariba close up behind them. Sequala is also in the firing line, followed by Caltrice a bit further back. Then is Moss Rocket gaining ground. Cut Up Rough is in behind a wall of horses. He was followed by I Love Sydney. Carpingley's a long way back with Charm Kaya. And down the grandstand side, 4 of them out there. The heavyweight leads the way from Poetic King, followed by Numsing and Virinaria. 400 metres left to go, and Hariba has taken the lead about a length to Royal Discard. Keltrice is starting to run on pretty well, followed by Moss Rocket, and back behind them then came All Our Mob from a long way back. Hariba being tackled by Moss Rocket as they come down with 100 metres left to go. Hariba is the leader, Moss Rocket, and here comes All Our Mob. All Our Mob is swapping them. All Our Mob hit the front, and All Our Mob is going along the line to win the Newmarket. All Our Mob wins it. I think Hariba might be second and nose to Moss Rocket third. Fourth home is Royal Discard, followed by Cut Up Rough and Carpingley, and then Poetic King, followed by Numsing. Keltrice behind them, Pay the King, Sequalo, Fighter by I Love Sydney, well back with a heavyweight, and Biminaria back towards the tail of the field with
ever Group 1 winner in Victoria.
Hariba a neck in front of Moss Rocket. Here's All Our Mob. All Our Mob is going to swamp them. All Our Mob hit the front from Hariba and Moss Rocket, and All Our Mob wins the race.
Waterhouse celebrated in the stands at Flemington, overwhelmed by all
the Kings, and further back in the field then at the head of the other horses, I Love Sydney. Hariba down towards the 300, kicked out by a length and a half. Out on the grandstand, Poetic King and the heavyweight are battling it out, but I think it's the flat at the 200 metre mark. It's Hariba under the whip. Moss Rocket is coming after him quickly. Hariba in front, he has to fight. He's a half a length to Moss Rocket, and All Our Mob is swamping them. All Our Mob flies over the top, and All Our Mob gets up to win it. All Our Mob from a photo. Hariba, I think, second from Moss Rocket.
The ratings experts declared that if Hariba ran right up to his form, nothing could beat him. The truth about this year's Newmarket is that Hariba ran right up to his form, and All Our Mob beat him anyway. A major training triumph here for Gay Waterhouse, the daughter of training legend T.J. Smith, and another superb Group 1 exhibition.
Oh, very exciting. We could see him coming. It was a dream come true. We ran second in the Melbourne Cup 2 years ago, and to win the Newmarket, one of the greatest sprint races on Australian turf, it's just unbelievable.
All Our Mob started at 16s, second Hariba at evens, and third Moss.
Paid dividends today.
All Our Mob, now set for the Doncaster, was back from 20s into 16 to 1, turned in a strong finish to claim Hariba. Moss Rocket battling well.
Keith, an amazing start to this Newmarket where we had horses going left, right and centre.
Yes.
You'll see it in a moment. I mean, lucky there wasn't great interference.
A demolition derby at the start now. Eddie Cassar on the heavyweight wants to go to the outside rail where it was slower. He wipes out about 5 runners, including Cut Up Rough in the fluoro yellow colours, who finished 5th and maybe should have gone close to winning the race. Eddie Cassar got 5 weeks because of steering the wrong way. Hariba Bruce looked the winner, but he had a big weight. The track was not rock hard, his preferred surface. But in the end, again, it was All Our Mob swooping home. Wayne Harris, Gay Waterhouse, a winning combination. Hariba just couldn't carry the big weight on the track that was not rock hard and do it for so long. He was sitting there waiting for someone to grab him, and in the end, it was All Our Mob.
It's a fair bit of criticism, Max, written about when All Our Mob changed stables to Gay Waterhouse, wasn't there? I think people felt that the guys have been hard done by.
Yes, I still think the guys have probably were hard done by, but nevertheless, that's the past. You've got to concentrate in the future. All Our Mob is now with the Smiths, and there it is, the Smith-Waterhouse Bone and Muscle going to the line tremendously. But just a word on Hariba. Hariba's another one. Again, we've got a top-class horse. I nearly said champion, but one that's got to have all the circumstances to suit him. They can't overcome a little bit of adversity.
Could you believe, Max, that Hariba wouldn't win one of the Triple Crown races, the Lightning, the Oakley or the Newmarket, after he's winning the old William Reid on that Australia Day?
Well, that was a freakish performance, and he hasn't reproduced that. Again, he mightn't have got quite the same conditions.
I actually meant to ask Keith that. I mentioned
I'm agreeing with you, Max, that with these top liners, and they are top liners, but there is just that small flaw in each and every one of them, and that's why, again, and it is becoming repetitive, each week we're lauding one.
Start in the $650,000 Australian Cup is the Mighty June Unbeatable. Ken Callender has the latest.
Well, tote punters and punters on course all think that he is unbeatable. Ken, because Old Marvel is at 6.5 to 1. Jeune at 2's on, $1.50 for $1 on the tote. 20 to 1 now, the Phantom. Solvit, big odds on the tote, $14 into about 12. Shortcut is a scratching. Then we've got 100 to 1 Lord Majestic. Star Dancer getting out on the tote to about 9 to 1. Similar price in the betting ring. He's got a good chance. And Starstruck, the Miller family horse, is showing $18 on the TAB, just a little bit better.
Well, David Jern was very unlucky last week. How's he done?
He's thrived. Great start to Oppressor and Innocent King is last of all. Solbit the leader as they race down the side and doing it nicely. 2.5 lengths to our Pompey at the 1,000. 1 length away Durbridger, a length and a half Oppressor, a half to Station Hand. The Phantom moving around the outside there of Star Dancer. Then came Starstruck there, followed by Lord Majestic. Jern on the inside as second last. And still last of all is Innocent King, approaching the home turn. 700 metres left to go, and Solbit has dashed away. Solbit about 4 lengths to our Pompey, half a length away, moving up on the outside, Durbridger. And then came Station Hand, finishing on, and they're followed by the Phantom of the others as they pack up a little as they come into the straight with about 450 metres left to go. Solbit near the inside, about to be tackled by Durbridge, who's come with a big run down the outside, and Durbridge has taken the lead. Now here comes Jern from a long way back and winding his run as they come to the 300. Durbridge is the leader from Station Hand, Starstruck, and Jern, the mighty Jern, coming down the outside with a tremendous burst of speed as they come past the 200. Station Hand, the leader, Starstruck, and Jern is now under pressure. The Western Australian mare, Starstruck, has taken the lead with 100 to go. Jern is trying hard. Starstruck in front of Jern. Starstruck wins the cup from Jern. Station Hand is third. Fourth home is Durbridge, followed by Star Dancer, Innocent King, and then came further back the Phantom, followed by our Pompey, and back behind them are
thousands of fans to headquarters and Super Saturday. And your caller is 3UZ's Brian Martin.
Station Hand gets to Durbridge, but here comes Jern and Starstruck in the middle. Station Hand with its head in front. Starstruck and Jern trying hard. Starstruck's at the front with 100 to go. Jern goes out after Starstruck. Jern and Starstruck. Starstruck in front. Jern on the outside. Can't get there.
Nearly 3 decades. Struck an Oppressor when they enter the straight. Now Jern having a bumping duel there with Lord Majestic. He has got into the clear though at the 400. Oh, Solbit punctured. Durbridge went straight past him. Durbridge in front now. Station Hand issues the threat. And 3 lengths back is Jern starting to come with Starstruck. Station Hand and Durbridge at the 200. Lead 2 lengths to Starstruck and Jern, who are closing. Now Starstruck hits the front. Starstruck in the centre, the leader from Jern. Station Hand. Jern coming after Starstruck. Starstruck, Jern, a bobbing go. Starstruck has won it.
This surely was one of the upsets of the year, with the good Western Australian head.
Starstruck has won it.
12 months ago, I said she was the best mare in Australia, and the horse I was comparing her to at that stage was Light Fingers. She just knows where the winning post is, and she just doesn't give up.
He didn't have all that much bad luck in the run, and he was going to win all the way down the straight, and I was quietly confident that I was going to get the leaders, and maybe he was just a run short.
So, a real ladies' day, Gay having won the Newmarket, and Kay Miller, the trainer of Starstruck. Ironically, Gay originally trained Starstruck, so she could have had the double. And the last today...
I guess, Keith, the other thing about yesterday, we were going to hail 2 superstars, 2 champions had they won, Hariba and Jern, and they both got done.
Yes, let's firstly look at Jern. If there was an excuse, and there certainly wasn't in the run of the race, the only excuse you could put up, Bruce, that he went in a little underprepared with 2 1,400-metre runs under his belt.
What did you think, Keith? I mean, I thought he had every chance. Harris did a very good thing on the home turn when he was able to bullock his way out. He didn't have to go so wide, and I thought he had his chance to beat Starstruck in the straight.
Well, there's Solbit in front. He's a Cox Plate winner, and when he led so comfortably as they...
was able to get out here, watch him bullock, bullocks his way, 3 from the left, so he didn't cover any ground, didn't have to go around Innocent King, gets his chance here, but you blokes might forget, I know you've got selective memories, I did tip Starstruck 3 weeks ago.
I think that was moments before you put such a massive rap on Jern.
It was.
Well, here's Jern coming now. Now, Jern's got him covered now. Now we'll find out where is his enthusiasm to win.
Yes, but Keith, don't you agree, the preparation, he'd only had a 1,400-metre run going in.
I think that is what mattered most at the finish. He's a very good horse. He's obviously not an easy horse to ride, but look, let's give credit where it's due, and it was due to the Millers yesterday. Shane Miller selected this horse as a Gay Waterhouse cast-off. Johnny Miller, who won a Melbourne Cup and a Caulfield Cup in '66, was there taking all the praise, but it belonged to his son, Mark Miller, and to his wife, Kay, back in...
The New Zealand challenge completely fizzled. We had Star Dancer, had won 4 in a row. The old Phantom, a lovely old horse, but he's getting on, and Solbit was a dreadful disappointment.
Obviously, Solbit went too fast, though. Finished near the tail of the field. Our Pompey that chased him. They put on the pace. The race was made for Jern. Jern was a trifle disappointing. When things go these horses' way now, they look outstanding. Durbridge had to do it a bit tougher yesterday and was found wanting. I don't think that these horses seem to have the ability to overcome a little adversity.
But Jern certainly didn't dog it yesterday. Jern tried his heart out, in my opinion, right to the line.
Well, I don't know whether he was really going to the line with a great deal of enthusiasm. He was sticking his tongue out. Was that at me? Trifle disappointing. When things go these horses' way now, they look outstanding. Durbridge had to do it a bit tougher yesterday and was found wanting. I don't think that these horses seem to have the ability to overcome a little adversity.
But Jern certainly didn't dog it yesterday. Jern tried his heart out, in my opinion, right to the line.
Well, I don't know whether he was really going to the line with a great deal of enthusiasm. He was sticking his tongue out. Was that at me?
It's another Group